Tonight, almost every primary school in Scotland closes. Thousands of teachers have walked out of the classroom in their latest strike over pay.
The fact that the Scottish Government have stalled as they have is actually really disappointing to us and our members. And our members are incredibly angry about the actions and the delaying tactics of the Scottish Government.
Also making the headlines tonight, the number of patients waiting more than 12 hours in accident and emergency departments hits its highest ever level. The Scottish Government sets out its strategy to reduce the country's dependence on oil and gas. And we meet the Aberdeenshire woman who, despite suffering a stroke, is now training to represent Scotland in carriage driving. Good evening, I'm Sharon Donaldson and this is the STV News at 6, live from Aberdeen. Thousands of teachers across Scotland walked out of the classroom today as they staged their latest round of strikes in an ongoing row over pay. Almost all primary schools closed after last-ditch talks between teaching unions and the Scottish Government ended without a breakthrough. Secondary teachers will walk out tomorrow, and tonight it appears both sides still remain some distance apart. Here's Louise Hosey.
Cold but determined. Teachers in Aberdeen were doing their best to keep spirits high on the picket line this morning. It was a scene replicated in Inverness, Dundee and across the country. The latest strike action closing almost every primary school in Scotland.
Given the cost of living crisis that we're all facing now, our pay claim is quite justified and quite well reasoned. The fact that the Scottish Government have stalled as they have is actually really disappointing to us and our members are incredibly angry.
Teachers want a 10% pay rise. Unions have already rejected a 5% offer from the Scottish Government, which includes increases of up to 6.85% for the lowest paid staff.
Our salary does not reflect what we do in a day-to-day job, so therefore it's really important to stand with each other to ensure that we are getting recognised for all those hats that we wear in our job day-to-day.
Talks were held yesterday to try to reach an agreement in this dispute, but they ended without any breakthrough. The Scottish Government says any pay deal must be fair and affordable. However, the unions here say that if a new offer isn't put on the table, then strikes like this one will continue. Today's strike action meant a day off school for thousands of pupils. They include Angie's 3 children. She wants the row resolved as soon as possible.
It's not easy on anybody's part, especially the parents, because if you work every day, if you go to work, you would need help. The teachers play a very significant role in the community, in the society. So they're like one of the strongest part that we've got. So I'm hoping that the Scottish Government, we can plead with the Scottish Government to keep them happy or vice versa so we can get on going, But I don't think it's easy on any side.
The current impasse led to heated exchanges in Parliament today.
Teachers are on strike for the first time in 40 years because this SNP government have repeatedly let them down. They don't want to strike, but she's letting teachers down, she's letting pupils down.
We are, of course, looking at considering all options to resolve this dispute, looking at the scope where there is compromise. But I would come back to the fact, as I've stated to trade union colleagues on a number of occasions, the Scottish Government has a fixed budget. It is already allocated for this year and it has been eroded by inflation.
Tomorrow, virtually all secondary schools will be closed as further strike action is also scheduled for next week, with teachers in 2 local authorities due to walk out each day over 16 days. It's hoped the dispute can be resolved before then, but it appears clear that at this stage both sides are still some distance apart. Louise Hosey, STV News.
The Scottish Government is spending £8 million to make more care home beds available for hospital patients. The Health Secretary says the move should help ease pressure on the NHS from delayed discharge. Hamza Yousaf says more than 1,700 people are currently in hospital waiting for a care package or suitable accommodation. Our political correspondent Ewan Petrie reports.
The system is absolutely broken. The system isn't in crisis, the system is broken.
When Russell McMillan fell ill over Christmas, he was told he failed to meet the criteria for an ambulance. Having had a double transplant, he feared his organs might fail because of dehydration. His GP warned he could face a 6-hour wait for treatment, so his wife took him direct to the transplant unit.
Had I gone down the normal route and gone through accident emergency, I could have lost my organs. My God-given organs, I could have lost them. Without money now to home carers, there will be no emergency health care. And whether it's people like me that will lose their organs, or stroke patients who don't get the clot-busting drugs, or heart attack patients, I'm sorry, our system's bust.
Delayed discharge is one of the biggest factors causing pressure on the NHS. The average number of people waiting for a care package to leave hospital increased in the second half of last year. By November, it was just under 2,000. That figure has since fallen to more than 1,700.
I call on Hamza Yousaf, up to 20 minutes, Cabinet Secretary.
In response, the Health Secretary announced £8 million to increase the number of care home beds available.
This is an in extremis, time-limited measure that is required to help us with the current capacity issues that we face. The additional funding is intended to meet the increased costs of utilising